Nuh-uh.
The fuck you mean, nah?
What's up, you guys, and welcome to Sith Happens Star Wars Podcast. I am Eric the Dadalorian, and thank you guys for joining us today for a fine episode that we have been planning for a long time. I am joined, by always, by my two loveliest counterparts. I got my boy Matty Ice and otherwise known as Black Series Daily Desk, and I am .not a committee on Instagram. How are we doing today, fellas?
Hello there. I'm doing great. I'm going to warn everybody that's listening. I have a horrendous cough. I would say I had a spicy cup of spotchka, but unfortunately, I'm getting over a cold and it's all up in me. So we're going to have a pretty good debate today. We'll get into that in a second. But if you guys hear me coughing, it is not because I'm trying to interrupt a point or don't like it.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's fair, and thanks for the warning too. I just got over a cold too. I coughed so hard my mustache fell off.
Oh, look at this guy! You look so different. You're like
I know.
You're like a character in the first episode of a TV show now, and then by the time we get to like maybe 10 podcasts from now, it's like your arc as you become more mature. You'll just fill the mustache back in. I'm excited for the half growth.
Yeah,
so I've never known you without one. Do you like do the
you you just haven't really realized it because you don't see me every day. What I tend to do with my facial hair, I'm sorry, I know this is a Star Wars podcast, but
we're getting way off topic
I just randomly will just cut it off.
You're like a Wookiee, you know. That's where. So as a Wookiee, and you can just fill it in. But yeah, I'm loving. This is becoming a men's grooming Star Wars podcast. You know.
It is. But it was my birthday last week, and I turned a ripe old age of 35, and I was like, I'm gonna shave stuff. So I,
are
right
on my tail. And Matt's got us all beat.
Yeah, I'm 60. It's crazy. I get the body of a 60-year-old, but I'm 41. So
you don't look a day over 75.
That's so nice of you. Anyways, speaking of 75, I don't know, but let's get into Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
So I am coming at you guys from the Arctic Circle of Florida, which is a fun time here. We just got hit with a record-breaking, like, generational type storm. Thankfully, I have power to do this show. Anyways, we got a fun one planned, and that is the sequel debate. So now the three of us are kind of interesting on the sequels. You find a lot of people who are super anti-sequel or super for sequels. We kind of got everything and in between, because you got my boy Ant here, who is all about the sequels, and I respect that. You got me, who I wouldn't say I am anti-sequel, but I am not a fan. And you got Matt, who is like a ripe in-between portion there, essentially. So he's
Goldilocks.
We're essentially going to be like that,
it's just
the
right.
meme of the guys fighting about the Wicked Witch of the West. Hold on! For like the
we're a Wicked podcast.
Okay,
sorry.
let's talk Wicked because I'm just kidding.
No, yeah,
I have not seen it, so you know what? You will have to handle that one.
Best Ant story ever. When I couldn't find him, and he was like, he wasn't answering texts. I was like, "Are you okay?" He goes, "No, we started watching Wicked. I did not know that movie was 3 hours." And it was really funny. But anyway,
it was a good movie, but I digress.
So we are going to get into it, and the way that we are going to do this is we're just going to go movie by movie and kind of just talk about it. You know, what we liked, what we didn't like. Ant and I are probably going to argue a lot, but you know what? He's still my friend at the end of the day. And even if he's wrong, I still love him.
It's going to be just fine.
Everybody's going to be just fine. On Force Awakens.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to come out and say it. When we say that I'm up and down on the sequels. Oh, I'm up on the prequels. On the sequels. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, there are things I like and there are things that I don't. Force Awakens, I love. And not only do I love it, but if I'm going by Star Wars movies, I watch the most as what is my favorite movie. And I've said it on the podcast. And I know a lot of people don't love this answer, but it is my favorite Star Wars movie. I think it is the Star Wars movie that has the most spirit of Star Wars. I understand the complaints about it, really just being a rehash of A New Hope. But I think contextually, when that movie came out, you had a lot of prequel haters. And a lot of people felt like Star Wars didn't feel like Star Wars. Those prequel fans were just getting on the internet and into Reddit and really getting talking about Clone Wars and everything. The first line of the movie is Lor San Tekka saying, "This will begin to make things right." So it's Disney and J.J. Abrams' way of saying, yo, this is a Star Wars movie. You know, girl from nowhere in the desert, you know, finds a scruffy friend, needs to get help, gets caught up with Han Solo. They have to blow up a giant thing. And that's why I love it. Because if you look at it from that point, from a certain point of view, it is so Star Wars. And I love it. I hate that Han Solo dies, but I love it.
Excuse me.
No, I couldn't agree
coughing now.
more with pretty much everything you just said. And, you know, for me, the sequels, I love Star Wars, and I've always had that love, and I haven't always had someone to share that love with. And, you know, I met you guys along my journey here, but my wife is a huge Star Wars fan, and we've been together for just over probably about 10 years. And The Force Awakens was like, we watched these movies together in the theaters. I did not have the opportunity to do that with the others. So for that reason alone, they're special to me. And then just, I mean, to reiterate on what Matt said, you have the thrill of the story. I've heard people talk about how, you know, The Force Awakens is basically A New Hope rewritten, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's fine. A New Hope's a great movie. And give me some different characters and a little bit of a plot twist, and it's a great movie. Anyways, I'm going to enjoy it. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, Eric, you go, the rebuttal, and then I'll say what I was going to say.
Well, so here's the thing, is I'm not going to have too much of a rebuttal for this, because I do agree that The Force Awakens actually is a good movie. I do enjoy The Force Awakens. It's the one prequel that I will have very minimal complaints.
We're going to have trouble with that.
Yeah.
We're going to have so much trouble with
We
that.
talk about the prequel so much, but no,
Yeah,
so it's the one sequel that I have minimal complaints about, because it captures the essence of Star Wars very well. You know, my biggest complaint with it is it basically is a complete rehash of A New Hope. You know, a Force-sensitive kid gets found in the desert, doesn't know their parents, wants to, you know, goes off on this adventure. You know, there's new things that are brought into it, though, that I did really, really like. So this is the first time that we essentially put face to Stormtrooper with Finn, and I really loved that, to tell you the truth. And it wasn't the mindless Stormtrooper that we got from the Empire, essentially, or the first Empire, when, you know, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. You know, this is a guy who does not want to be fighting for this team. So him making that breaking Poe out and everything, it was a really good concept. There was different things in there. Like I said, my biggest gripe with it is just it basically felt like watching A New Hope all over again. Just a bigger Death Star, another trench run. It was all dope as hell, don't get me wrong, but it was just like basically a rehash. But at the end of the day, the movie itself, I really enjoy, and it's one of those ones, like you said, Matt, I will sit there and watch that, and I'll be happy about that.
Yeah, I get in the mood to watch it, and I want to say one, Ant, I understand what you're saying about the theater. So we all know from the cast, my dad got me into Star Wars when I was like 4. Mm-hmm. I took him to the prequels, and he was just like, this ain't Star Wars. Because, you know, he's an older guy. And then when these started coming out around Christmas, I would avoid the internet for a week and go on Christmas Eve with my family. And when this came out, it was like the part of I always say the Force was awakening me. I just got into Clone Wars. I just really started like, I love Star Wars again. I was awakened. But so I went with my dad, and it felt like a whole new Star Wars experience for me, seeing it with my dad. And in addition to that, like watching The Crawl and all of that come up, like I knew Harrison Ford was in it. I got so enveloped in the beginning of the movie when I saw it, trying to figure out what everything is, you know, not having done a lot of, you know, like we do now, like speculation, like everybody was doing then. It was like washed over me. Like Han Solo is my favorite. Han Solo is awesome in that movie. Behind, you know, no look blaster shots.
That was like one of the best parts.
Oh, you're cold. You know, all of it. And I forgot he was in it, and he came through, and it was almost like a surprise to me. And I knew all these people were in it. And then when, you know, Princess Leia comes in for the battle on Takadona, I was like, holy, it just like totally blew my mind. And there's so many good beats in it. Like, you know, you said it is A New Hope again, but there's so many awesome moments. And the score is great. The new movements are
That's
great.
what I was going to say too.
The way they use the movements in this in two specific moments, right? When they're running to the quad jumper, Finn and Rey, and she goes, "What about that one?" And she goes, "That's a pile of junk." And then the quad jumper explodes, and she looks at him and goes, "We'll take the garbage." And it pans over, and it's the Millennium Falcon under a tarp, and you hear da 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 da, and then
So epic.
of course they make you wait for the Force theme the entire movie until the lightsaber comes to her.
Mhm.
I get the chills talking about it. I actually watched it last weekend just for fun because I watch it all the time. Every time to this day, I get the chills. And that's kind of what I love about it. I feel the magic, and I hear you about it just being like another, but that's Star Wars.
And
I mean,
I would
Ezra's a
argue
kid
it's
too,
in a
it's
field.
not a big complaint is the thing. Like, it's
Yeah, no,
not
it's
a
fair.
big complaint. It's one of those things where it's just like, like,
yeah.
it's a
And
rehash.
I brought that up at the beginning. I did not know that was your biggest gripe, so that was kind of ironic. But I would personally argue that it is true for about the first half of the movie. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, other than the fact that you get Starkiller Base, the similarities there, of course, but the plot and the direction that it goes, after we establish the characters, I think it has a lot more variation than similarity to A New Hope.
Yeah, and
The whole like Maz Kanata and all of that, like they're bringing in new characters and different plot. It's like we're not having a ceremony at Yavin. Like,
yeah,
it's not the same movie, but
I will tell you, I have
agree
two
that there are
gripes.
similarities.
I have two gripes in it, actually.
Okay.
One, I really don't, well, it's a double gripe in one and then another gripe. I really don't love I love that Maz Kanata had the lightsaber. I don't love that she's like, it's Luke's lightsaber, it's Anakin's technically, and for some reason that irks me, and I don't know why, and that's said throughout the trilogy. I don't love the fact that if it's that lightsaber since Squawk Luke's, it's fine, but the kind of MacGuffin of, where'd you get that? Oh, that's a story for another time.
that's
I
one
think
of mine.
was meant to add like, multimedia into it that never happened, but for me, I'm a little bit like, I mean, just give me a little something. Like I know some gas miners on, Bespin. I don't know, like something like it fell. That's one. And then two, this is like one of my biggest gripes in anything. And remember, this is my favorite Star Wars movie. So these are like minor nitpicks. Rey hugging Leia, or Leia hugging Rey when she gets back to base instead of Leia hugging Chewie is a huge miss because Leia barely knows Rey. And Chewie is Han Solo's best friend who's devastated, and Leia's his wife who went on all these adventures with him. So, like, if she wants to hug Rey after, neato. But I felt like that was like, I remember even being in the theater, like, I love this movie. I didn't even really think about the lightsaber thing until like the 40th time I watched it. But in the theater, when Rey ran up to Leia and Leia hugged her, I was like, oh, where's Chewie? But that's my own thing.
I thought that too, honestly. I know, like, another one of my gripes, and this is kind of a small one, just kind of like, it's nothing big. But, so, now, Kylo Ren coming in, right off the get-go, awesome character. I think there is, like, going through the series.
Stops a blaster bolt.
Yeah, like, I thought
That
it was
scene
just,
alone,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, is
good.
just one of the most epic scenes in any Star Wars movie when it comes to blaster fire.
Yeah.
And it was
Poe
it
is
was
awesome.
dope because he kept it, and plus he kept it in midair for like a long time too. But like, I thought that he was just introduced with such an awesome character. The thing I didn't like, and this is just something going back to what we know from Vader, right? Vader wore the mask and stuff because of his he can't breathe. He's got half a body and shit at this point.
He wore it to survive.
Kylo just wore it to wear it to pretend to be
He's
Vader.
a fanboy. He's a fanboy.
And that's
I
something
like that, though.
I didn't like that because it was like, this is, speaking from a tactical standpoint, something that could be, just hinder him essentially, and he could have been more badass without it.
Yeah,
And I don't
think
disagree.
Matt,
it was no
Matt,
point
you might know
behind
more,
the helmet essentially.
but he does call himself Kylo Ren, and he kind of leads the Knights of Ren who have similar helmets as well. So does that have a role in that?
Well,
Helmets
in the
and
comics,
Nothing's explained about that is the thing. So it's
Yeah.
I'm just
like,
asking because I know Matt's
Yeah.
read the comics. So
So the comic, the whole deal is that when he's a teenager and Luke and him are on a mission with Lor San Tekka, they run into the Knights of Ren and this like old Jedi relic place. And Luke like makes really short work of them. He doesn't kill them, but kind of just like, beats them, spanks them on the ass and sends them off. And in that moment, Ben finds a mask and puts it on. So he kind of gets this idea that like the Knights of Ren are sort of like badass bikers. And, then you couple that with his obsession with Vader that's stoked by Snoke. Stoked by Snoke. My new podcast. It's all about Snoke's hot takes from Snoke.
Oh boy.
Stoked by Snoke. Snoke. Anyway, so...
Yeah,
But like, so
Snoke.
it sort of starts that like sort of fanboying of the Knights of Ren, and then in the comic, we won't get into this because now we're getting into like expanded media.
So,
but in the comic,
in essence,
I don't love
yes,
how
it is
Ben
kind of
becomes a bad
potentially
guy.
influenced by that.
Yeah, I don't love how Ben becomes a bad guy in the comics, but yeah, it's like a little bit of like those guys seem cool and they have masks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and
Well, just curious.
Yeah, and honestly, like those are really like my only big gripes with that movie. At the end of the day, I'll still watch it. It's a great movie.
I mean, it's my favorite to be honest. I think.
Yeah, but
I think my two favorite scenes in that movie are, of course, what we were just talking about, the blaster bolt scene in the very beginning. Like, what a way to introduce the first Star Wars movie since Rogue One. Like, come on, that was awesome. And then the final lightsaber battle. I mean, I thought it was great with Rey, and the fact that they had Finn do a lightsaber battle, to me, I thought that was really cool. And it didn't go very far, but I thought it was awesome how they had Rey, kind of come to the rescue and see her a little bit of her own potential there and take control of the situation. And, damaging him and whatnot, even though he's not like a Sith, he's still trained with Luke and under Snoke. So it's not like he doesn't know shit, and here she comes in and she's able to kind of stand her own. So I think Rey's a badass. I don't care what anybody says. I think Rey's a complete badass.
I have a take on that, and I love that Rey beats him, but I think what people are forgetting is that they use the majority of the movie setting up that the bowcaster is a beast, right? Like it shatters stormtroopers. You could strap it to the front of the Death Star and you don't need a laser. Like it is crazy, right? And then so basically then what happens is he just gets shot in the waist and the like rib, like below the ribs and like his side with it, takes a knee. That's it. Then is in this fight with her and repeatedly like hitting this wound and using the force to stall this wound. So he is in extreme pain. Yeah. He took one force trauma and now he's trying to focus to fight and he is not fully trained. So it makes complete sense that she could defeat him. He's also, similar to Anakin, a complete hothead, right? But without Anakin's power. So he's just all over the place. So it makes 100% sense to me that she would beat him. I think the majority of people that have an issue with that, candidly, and can't like recognize any nuance there, the majority of the people that give me this crap, it boils down to, in the most part, them hating female protagonists. And I don't want to be that guy, and you're allowed to not like that, but the majority of it is Luke Skywalker is also a Mary Sue. He had no training, and then he used the Force to blow up the Death Star.
Luke's the worst.
Luke arguably has less experience than her going through a lot of stuff. He's got 8 weeks of Yoda
talk about
training.
this soon, but Luke from The Last Jedi is my favorite version of Luke. Luke
Interesting.
I do like
character.
Return of the Jedi. Like, I don't have any issue with that, but like A New Hope Luke to me is just such a whiny boy.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
Listen,
My wife
we're
talks
gonna-
about all the time that my wife loves Obi-Wan. She was like, Luke is my least favorite character in Star Wars. He is a whiny bitch, and that's like my wife's take on it.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Thank
we're
you.
gonna get into why I did not like this Luke Skywalker, because this, I guess, this is a
I think
segue
we've all
in-
said this one's an easy
And
one.
Maz.
Like,
I'll say
let's-
Maz is my other favorite part. I thought Maz was
No,
awesome.
definitely.
I agree with you. I would have liked a little bit more where you would have liked a little bit more, but her character is great. And she's really fun to take pictures with because she's 1,000 years old, and I could use her with accolade people.
Yeah. Also, by the way, then we'll be done. Do you know what my most favorite part is? Han uses his blaster and kills, I believe it's 10 people when I counted this weekend, but I might be off by like 1 or 2. 10 bad guys, not like gender. It's not like a mass shooting. Kind of in a battle, but they're stormtroopers. But anyway, yeah.
Thank you for
I
clarifying.
think let's start getting into the throwdown because this is where it's going to get spicy.
This is gonna get spicy.
And is this your favorite or is Rise of Skywalker?
I don't know. It always flip flops. I think
Why don't you take us off on this one?
for the most part, I think Rise of Skywalker is my favorite. But Last Jedi to me, I remember for me, I think of all the movies that I was alive to be able to see in the theaters, which 6 of our 9, unfortunately, I did not roam the earth at the time of the OT. But anywho, so I think it has my favorite scene of any, possibly any movie I've ever seen in a theater, and that is when the General Holdo turns the ship around and blasts it into the Star Destroyer. Matt and I just talked about it recently, and he doesn't care for this scene. For me, in the theater, that scene hit so hard. You have dead silence, and then just out of nowhere, kaboom, and it blasts off. And I remember just looking at Liz, and we were both just like, "This is lit," and we loved it from there on out. The other thing I really love about The Last Jedi is the Snoke scene where Snoke dies. Where he goes, where he puts up Kylo and Rey together, and they end up taking him out. And then, fast forward to the fight with the guards after that is one of the most epic fights.
I'll say this much. The buildup of the Force theme when Kylo kills Snoke is probably one of the best musical moments in Star Wars.
Dude,
and that is
scene,
the movie's...
That's my second favorite. Like, that scene right there is just, like, to me, I did not see it coming. Whatever. Call me naive, call me what you will. But for me, this is just how I enjoy movies. And I didn't see that coming. And I just thought it was freaking awesome. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this is our guy. This is our main antagonist. Like, he's gone. What?
That is a perfect example for me of the duality. There are things this movie did so right, and then there are things to me that don't make sense. So that's something it did so right. There's a lot of elements in this that subverted expectations, and that sets up Kylo is, you think he's a good guy in that fight, and then he's a great fight, and then he is a bad guy, which is who the character's supposed to be.
Yeah.
He's not redemptive. He's a whiny brat, and that's him taking his mantle. They got that so right. Then there are things in the movie, there are choices I don't understand, and I don't think they got right. So I just want to quickly talk about the Holdo thing, because I want to clarify what Ant and I were talking about. Holdo is a character that doesn't need to exist at all. They literally, that scene, what she did, I love. The way it looked, I love. The idea, I love. Everything about it, I love. The fact that it was her, I hate. And let me explain why. Admiral Akbar was on that bridge, and he basically gets killed off screen. You have a beloved character with one of the most famous lines in Star Wars who everybody loves. There is no reason to be like, oh, by the way, Akbar's dead. If he is on the bridge of that ship, that becomes the most epic climax to an arc that started in Clone Wars of any Star Wars movie. And it's amazing that this character who started out as like a royal guard, on Mon Cala, right? Then kind of like through the comics, figures out how he's going to join the rebellion, becomes a general, leads the siege on the second Death Star, stays with the Resistance when nobody will go with them. His ship gets almost destroyed. He survives, right? And then ultimately what happens is somebody needs to sacrifice themselves for the Resistance. This is a character who has sacrificed everything through duty and honor throughout every time you've seen him in Star Wars and taken all the risks. And you're going to tell me that what we get is, by the way, Admiral Akbar's dead. Anyway, this is Admiral Holdo.
Yeah.
That to me is such a miss. And Ant, I know you don't feel that way, but so like that to me
here's the thing is I will not disagree with anything you just said. And it's just, for me, it is not something I would ever think about. When I'm watching that movie, that thought would never cross my mind. But now that you bring it up, I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Boy, that's stupid, Matt. That idea is dumb."
Yeah, totally fair.
No, I think it's a really cool thought.
It would have been an amazing arc.
I don't disagree with
him, honestly.
That being said,
at the same time,
still
I was
not going to
entertained
dislike
in
the
the
movie
theater.
any less because it's been brought to my attention.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this movie for me, I don't dislike it. There is so much more that they got right that I like. Everything with Luke, Rey, and Kylo, I think is bang on. I think the way that Poe is a totally different character in this movie. He's like a 12-year-old that needs to be taught a lesson. His arc, to me, this feels like a really good second or third to last draft of the final screenplay. And that's my problem with the movie is they didn't know what to do with any of those other characters beyond the Luke story. So that to me is where it's like a little off the rails. It's like feels like a rush job to get it out there.
Yeah, and I actually totally agree with the thing about Poe, because that's actually one of my biggest gripes with it is it's a resistance essentially, so it is very militaristic, and as somebody who has served, I can tell you right now, that whole scene at the beginning there where he just cuts off and all these bombers just go willy-dilly and do it themselves, that is so outlandish from what like actual militaristic like organizational structure and how things happen. I'm just like, yeah, no, that is no way that would happen in a militaristic resistance empire, whatever you want to call it. It just would never ever happen. So that irritated me.
See,
there,
I don't
honestly.
mind the opening because he's like a hotshot flyboy. I don't mind him getting demoted when he comes back. I think that's all great. That leads in with that character being cocky in the previous movie. It's beyond that as the movie goes on. He's just like, I want to go fight. I want to take over. And it's just like, no, you've got to learn your lesson. You're a 38-year-old man, but you've still got things to learn in this man's military and a person's military. And that's my issue with Poe in it. I just feel like he doesn't do anything in the movie. And I feel like they didn't know what to do with him or the other characters in the middle. That said, the battle on what's it called? The assault planet?
Crate.
Is one of the most beautifully filmed things ever in Star Wars. When they walk into the overhead shot, the red sand. I would have liked if those speeders they were using did any damage to anything. They were just like driving towards something. Still awesome, and it has my favorite moment in the movie.
Well, I'm gonna come in with a anti-favorite because
I'll tell you my favorite moment.
The whole battle on Crate itself was actually awesome. Visually, it was amazing. I thought it had the Hoth vibes, which I love. Easily one of my favorite battles in all of Star Wars, by the way. My biggest gripe was that at the very end there, and Matt, I know you and I have talked about this before. So when Finn takes his like suicide run towards the mini Death Star, essentially, I'm just like, all right, this is the blaze of glory for him. All right, he's gonna go out. Everybody else turned around. How in the shit does Rose's freaking speeder all of a sudden, I gotta save to catch the one I love, and freaking wings him from behind? I was just like, bruh, come on.
Yeah, but I will give you this. That chase scene has, again, my favorite part of the movie, and I agree with you. I did not like that, Eric, at all. I think that it was silly. I think that if you look at the Duel of the Fate script, we'll get into that during Rise of Skywalker. They have a great arc for him and Rose that really makes sense. But again, music movement and amazing. They're done. They're going to lose. All of a sudden, the TIE Fighter's starting getting leveled. You see the Millennium Falcon again. You get da-da-da-da-da-da. And then Finn goes, they hate that ship. It makes me laugh. It gives me the chills. And then immediately it goes in the catacombs, which is an awesome pseudo trench run. And they play the asteroid theme from the asteroid belt from Empire Strikes Back. And like, to me, like I said, there's so much I like in this movie. And the things that I don't like, I still watch the movie. Whenever I watch Force Awakens, I got to watch the other two. That's just how my life works. If I watch one Star Wars movie, I got to finish that trilogy. But there are things like that they didn't get right to me that could have gone better.
Yeah, and I'll say this much because it's kind of an all-encompassing for this movie and going into the next one, essentially, is what they did with Luke Skywalker was just absolutely terrible in my opinion. I liked it. I respect that you love this movie, but I just look at it this way, and I think even Mark Hamill has said this in an interview, even with losing everything like that, Luke, the way I had seen it is Luke would never give up hope and quit like that, essentially, on the galaxy. It's not the way of the Jedi, as they would say, to just give up that fight and doom the galaxy, so to say, or whatever.
But you've seen two Jedis give up and go into hiding. You've seen Yoda; everything was destroyed through their hubris and went into hiding. That's Luke's master, essentially. And Obi-Wan lose all hope. I fundamentally disagree. With that.
The thing is, I think as Luke, as he was rebuilding this and how he was through all of the OT and everything going up, I just don't see that for Luke. And
I think one of the things that sets, like, I totally agree with what Matt said, and very valid. What sets Luke apart from those Yoda and Obi-Wan is, he had an instance of almost turning to a dark side moment himself in
that happened on the bridge
Ben.
of the Death Star in the throne room with the Emperor also.
Well, exactly true, but and then he almost kills one of his students. Granted, it's because of a fault in his own, perhaps, but like, I mean, he did go through a lot, and I think that's part of the thing that a lot of people might not like, because they're like, it's too, I don't know. I don't even know how
to swallow for someone's hero to have ended up that way.
Yeah.
I think.
well, so
But
the
I
thing,
think also,
But the
Sorry,
thing
go on,
is
Eric.
they had to
Talking.
kind of like it was brief. He turned it right around. Like, he came back and like he mumbled and grumbled a little bit, but again, he's an old fucking man. Like, give him a break.
no,
we just
and
talked about him. Sorry, go on, and then I'll go.
No, I was gonna say, and I agree. He's gotten a lot older. The way I look at it, it was almost a little bit silly, because he went from, yeah, my father's completely redeemable even after he's committed these horrible atrocities, but then Ben, oh, my nephew had a bad dream.
I have a rebuttal to that.
Okay.
I think ultimately he'd always seen the issues with Ben. He'd fought to keep Ben to the side of the light. His nephew had a vision. His nephew didn't have a dream, and ultimately what he saw was the destruction of the galaxy. Now, one of the biggest problems with looking into the future, we know from Anakin, is that in trying to prevent the future, you create the future. So
Yeah.
Luke leaned right into that foresight being an issue. We just talked about how Luke in A New Hope is the whiniest motherfucker on the planet. So he's got that in him. He has DIY Jedi training after training with Yoda for roughly 8 weeks and then teaching himself.
Yeah.
He feels responsible for setting into motion the actions that, are going to lead to what he ostensibly feels will be the end of the galaxy, or the rise of the First Order and return of the Sith. So I think it makes complete sense to me. It's also to the argument of the movie feeling like A New Hope. Force Awakens. If in this movie Luke just trains Rey and he's like quirky and Luke, then he's Yoda. And it gives you the scene with Yoda where Yoda grounds him, which, by the way, is maybe, I would keep saying good scenes. It's where he gets it right. I think there's a lot of best scenes in this movie.
That was pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah. My big complaint about Luke is when he's the hologram, he doesn't use his green lightsaber. Like, that is my only issue with what they do with Luke, because I love that thing. And it makes no sense that if Luke was holding that blue lightsaber, Kylo wouldn't be like, did that thing just break in half? Like, that to me. And also, it's Carrie Fisher's last movie. And you get the moment where he kisses her forehead and says, nobody's ever really gone, and hands her the dice, which is really cool because they show you when you're projecting yourself, you can touch solids periodically. And it sets that up in Rise of Skywalker, which Elijah Skywalker, I'm going to come in with a lot
true
of hate.
that.
But like, to me, the Luke thing, and Eric, I hear you and I understand. It's, again, all of this is from a certain point of view. But to me, that makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make sense to me is what they did with every character. It's not him, Kylo, and Rey, and putting Chewbacca as a comedy bit with a roast chicken until he flies the Falcon.
Undoubtedly, I agree. But I think we might have beat this one to death here, boys.
Sorry, I'm not trying to come in hard on you guys. If it makes you feel better,
You're
probably
not.
about.
I just know we have to move on.
Yeah. I'm finally about to gang up on Ant with you a little, Eric. So sorry, Ant. We'll go from there.
Again, it's fine.
We're moving on to Rise of Skywalker. And so I'm going to come in really quick with this one, too, and say the whole thing that people had a whole lot of gripes with somehow Palpatine returned, I don't have that big of a gripe with it.
Me either. I have a gripe that he's in the movie, but not the reason why.
He comes back. Like, that is, like, there's several books about it and everything like that.
Yeah, it's a total precedent in the expanded universe.
Yeah, like, that does not bother me at all, actually. So, but Matt, I'm curious. So, I don't think I've actually heard you talk about some of your gripes of this. So, why don't you kind of lead off and kind of tell you lead this one a little bit?
Okay, first of all, I'm not going to invoke too much of Duel of the Fates. The script is available to anybody who wants to read it on Reddit.
I still
need to. It is
to.
an excellent script that ties up everybody's story arc in the movie. has a beautiful ending. The script describes amazing moments, a battle where a dreadnought is stolen by the Resistance, and when Star Destroyers are going by it, it's so big, it looks like the Star Destroyers are going fast. Like, you can see their actual speed. It is awesome. They tie up. Finn gets an amazing conclusion to his arc. Rose and Finn's romance makes total sense. Hux is a huge part of it and is a great part of the story. The final battle is on Coruscant, where Finn leads a stormtrooper army. It's just a much better movie. This was written by complaints on Reddit. That said, my problem with the movie is if you want to get into what Rian Johnson did right, the entire first act of this movie is them undoing The Last Jedi, and there are opportunities from The Last Jedi. Like, Kylo should be the main villain. Luke said, if you strike me down, I'll always be with you. Luke should be haunting Kylo. I love seeing Luke as a happy Force ghost. When they play the Yoda theme and he raises the X-Wing, I still get chills every time. There's good in this movie. Don't get me wrong.
And
but
I
to
agree.
me, maybe I'm tainted by what could have been. And when I saw it in theaters, I left. I'd cried 4 times. I was like, that was amazing. I loved it. I went to see it 4 more times. And around the 3rd time, I was like, I might have some issues. But with that said,
The initial, this is Star Wars got to you.
there was just not a lot of earned things in it that they had set up a lot they could earn in the previous 2 movies. That, like, Chewie getting the medal is there's a lot of fan service. It feels like there was such an adverse reaction to Last Jedi that it affected Solo, which you want to do a whole podcast where I think that's one of the best Star Wars movies. Lay it on me.
I'm happy to talk about that because I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I love that movie, but it killed Solo at the box office, and then they paused it and they fired Trevor out because they wanted to change it kind of into this. If you actually get the Art of book for The Rise of Skywalker, half of the Art of book is from The Last Jedi because they rushed this so much. There wasn't a lot of concept art. That, to me, there was a lot being done like, you guys are mad, we're going to make you happy. This was always Palpatine's plan. I like how they're filling the gaps in on the Palpatine thing and all the expanded universe. I never minded Palpatine being there, other than I thought Kylo should have been the bad guy. But ultimately, like I said, I watch it every time I start one of the other 2. There are moments where I'm like, I'm going to watch Rise of Skywalker today. Like, I don't hate the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no moment in the movie where I can go like, that's my favorite moment. And I also feel like, once again, Poe is a totally different character. He's now a former smuggler spice runner. He was always the Han Solo type in the first movie. They made him a totally different character in the second movie. It didn't make sense to me. And then in the third movie, it's like, you know what? Han Solo it up. And there's lots of funny stuff with him and Zori. There's like good in there. It's just like, for me, I just can't. And I can't say that I love it. And that's, this is where we get into me. It's like Force Awakens, perfect 10. Right, Last Jedi, like 5 or 6, and then like Rise of Skywalker for me is like a 3. So that's where we say that I'm in the middle, because as you go down the line, you could see where they didn't have a plan, and when they wanted to fix then make it feel like a plan, they were scared of the fans.
Yeah. And I think one of the things for me in that movie that just, like, they left it open, but I would have just liked to have seen more from it, is they absolutely alluded to Finn being Force sensitive and did absolutely not a damn thing with it. And it just, like, it was the closeout of this. Like, we're getting some of the stuff coming up with, like, the Daisy Ridley movie that's supposed to happen.
I'm stoked for that, and maybe a trilogy. So don't get me wrong, I'm excited for the Rey trilogy.
Me too. Like,
put that, you could write that down. You could save this video.
Yeah, like, I'm excited to see what it does with it, because just because I haven't liked this stuff in the past, that does not mean that I don't like her as the actress or the character even per se. I just don't like what happened with these movies. But Finn was such, I don't want to say a waste, because he did cool stuff in it and I really liked it, but it was just them alluding to him being Force sensitive and then just doing nothing with it just totally irked me. Like, come on, dude. Like, have him at the end with Rey having his own lightsaber or something like that. Like, just
like starting to
something. School. Yeah, like that. Bringing her kid to school. I don't
Rey's
know.
consistent. Rey's the only consistent character, and I love that about her. Like, Kylo going good. You guys know my issue with that. I think the Knights of Ren could have played a little bit more of a part. They do. In a lot of part. We should do an episode where we all read that script. I know Ant doesn't want to, because he doesn't want to sully Rise of Skywalker, you tell me?
Yeah. I mean,
all right, we've said our piece. Star Wars, as George Lucas told Dave Filoni, it's all about hope, and you need to end with hope. And I want you to bring us home, and we will not rebuttal unless we're mildly refused.
so
Why did you?
yeah,
Why did you like this? Tell the people that loved it why it's why it's good.
I think this one was, I don't know, like you, I walked out and I looked at Liz and I said, I think this might be my new favorite. And she was like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, no, I mean my new favorite movie, like, period.
Oh, yeah.
And, I like you have said, it's a little bit of that excitement about being there. So that statement
I sat through the whole credits every time, just so you know.
that
I didn't
statement
think there
doesn't
was a
hold
scene at the
true.
end. I just like it. Yeah.
To this day, but it is top 3 for me. I have that Revenge and Return of the Jedi in my top 3, and I think maybe it's a 3 thing. I don't know, but I don't know.
It's a
This
trilogy
strikes me-
of fun.
A couple of things that I would
Yeah.
like to point out. To something you said earlier, Eric, about one of the reasons you like Finn, about him kind of putting a face to the trooper type thing. I really enjoyed on the Endor moon there that they found that little group of troopers that ended up helping him out.
Yeah.
And
That is a nice touch, and it's kind of like sort of what they did in the other script, but like watered down.
yeah, it just is like little brief, but pretty. I don't want to say involved like they were involved, but I thought they did a good job building a relationship quickly with him and Jaina, which was pretty cool in bringing that onto the Star Destroyers at the end. Like, how unrealistic.
That
Yes,
was
I
cool.
will agree, but amazing.
I love the ending battle.
This
There's
is
a
Star
lot of
Wars.
stuff I like in it, yeah.
Unrealistic is the name of our game here. So if you have an issue with horses galloping across the Star Destroyer in space, then
It's funny as I'm good with that. I'm kind of like that scene. I thought it was cool. They were in atmosphere.
so that's one of my favorite scenes. And
I didn't
in
even
addition to
dislike
that,
that
when Finn's
particularly.
in there and has to manually fire off the gun, like, and blows that bridge to smithereens, like, one of my favorite scenes of the film.
The Sith troopers are awesome.
Oh,
and
yeah.
badass and way more deadly than stormtroopers. I would have liked more of them in the movie.
Same,
I thought that was
absolutely.
really cool.
Mhm. You know, I think the Star Destroyers, that the whole scene with all the ships coming to me was an epic scene to see. Like,
Agreed. It looked great.
regardless of if you even like that scene, it was fucking done well. And I saw a post today
Oh, no.
actually that has it had a ship that looked like the Razor Crest in it, and of course there's people like, oh fuck off, it's not the Razor Crest, but Razor Crest is gone by then. I'm like, it's just a ship that was recruited. Like,
I don't
the
know if
Razor
anybody saw
Crest is
the trailer for Mando and Grogu, but the Razor Crest
Mhm.
ain't so gone in
well,
the
the
leaked
Razor
trailer.
Crest is a type of ship.
Yes,
that,
correct.
that
Yeah,
just
correct.
so happens to
You
be
always
what
get
we
another
call
one.
it.
Yeah.
but
One X-wing blows up, so there's no more X-wings.
SR-70, I think,
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
SR-70 gunship. But anyways, it's like, it doesn't have to be something to be cool. So really enjoy that scene. I also do enjoy the scene that they're on the skiff-like things, the stormtrooper chase on the planet they
That
go
was cool.
to.
I'll give you that.
That was
cool.
fun. That was a fun scene.
I
the
just
whole
really didn't
in-
like the they fly now.
Well, I thought
Oh,
that was
man.
funny. Yeah,
the
I was good with that.
intrigue of the development between the Force dyad with Rey and Kylo.
I like that. I was good with
I
that.
really
I thought
enjoyed
that
that.
I'm
was a
even
really
good with
cool
her being
thing.
Palpatine's granddaughter, even if he hasn't
Yeah.
seen
So-
the movie.
Where I think where our biggest thing, Matt, might be about what we disagree about is that I personally love the story of Kylo in this movie and how he has the redemption arc that he does. And my gripe is that he fucking died. I wish he would have lived, and him and Rey could have done this together, and it would have been amazing. But he's dead, and that's fine. So
I'll actually take that answer, though.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
to me, it's a different kind of redemption arc then. And he's got, if you're going to do another movie or more stories, he's got to cope with the stuff he did. He
Yeah.
redeemed himself, but he's still a monster that created atrocities. Same issue if Luke took Vader with him. It's not
Yeah.
like Vader's going to be like, guys, no harm, no foul. But we never got to see that. So
No.
that is
Right.
intriguing to see, like, what's going to happen with Kylo. And also, if you want to talk about awesome things, when he's still, like, a bad guy in the movie, the fight, everything in the Death Star crash is
Oh,
just
God, yeah.
fantastic. It
The
looks
dark
so
side
cool.
ray scene
Dark
was
side
like
ray.
one of
Yeah,
the fucking
all
coolest
of that.
things.
You get to see what the
The
Emperor's
one
artifacts do to
character from
people.
Rise of Skywalker we got in Black Series,
Yeah.
Dark Side Ray.
Yeah. By the way, if they made Rise of Skywalker figures and I could get a final form, like Poe is Han Solo again, but I love a Han Solo, so like I like the shootout they have when they rescue Chewie.
Yeah.
The whole deal. I think Hux, it was bullshit. Like that character that was like he's an important part of everything, and they're like shot him off screen like they pulled somebody off with a cane. That said, that action scene's cool. I love the Falcon thrusters. Again, go with what happened with the bowcaster, them just kind of pushing Kylo back. That's how strong he is in the Force. Like, there's some cool stuff in this movie. Some of the parts don't add up for me, but that's probably why I watch it again and again, because I enjoy a lot of that. Yep.
Yeah, no, I won't dispute. I won't try to tell you your opinions are wrong. And I just for this one, I don't even know that I agree with them per se, but I do respect that those are that's how you feel. So I don't know. I think this one to me, it just I enjoyed. It's one of those ones I've got a smile on the whole time I'm watching it, and it's
Listen, whatever makes you happy, bro.
And that's the point of Star Wars.
until Kylo dies, then I don't, and then I cry. And if anyone needs to see one of the most amazing videos ever, look up the Rise of Skywalker I Need a Hero mashup
It's good.
that they do with I Need a Hero to Kylo fighting off the Knights of Ren as he goes to Rey, and it is so freaking perfect. It's amazing.
I think there's also a great edit to it if you want to look online. It's like all over YouTube. A couple people have done it where they add the Force ghosts in when Rey says, "I am all the Jedi," and
that would be kind of cool.
They play the music from the trailer, the TikTok track. That makes me cry whenever I watch. Whenever I watch the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, I get choked up.
I'll definitely agree that would have been a cool one, and that one I'd say is kind of a miss on their part. But the fact that they had the voices, and a lot of them voiced by they were all voiced by
Bringing an
the
Ewok
correct
in
people.
for a second.
Hey, what up, buddy? Like, I thought that was cool. I definitely cried in the theaters when that happened. In fact, I cried a lot in that movie. Yeah, I cried a lot.
I cried the first time a few times. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I think in the end, like, the thing that's nice about the way we're talking about this is I don't think anybody's coming after anyone. My dog's just whined into the microphone. He doesn't like the sequel.
I do feel attacked by Hal, but I mean,
I
feel that
Look
Hal.
at this vicious attack dog, Hal 9000. But we always talk about Star Wars is meant to be fun and bring joy. And the fact that it brings a smile to your face is amazing. I don't even Star Wars is like the Cheesecake Factory. There's stuff on the menu I don't want to order, stuff on the menu I do want to order. You're going to have to accept everything isn't canon, or don't. Just say, not my Star Wars, and go away.
Yeah,
Or
right.
don't watch that stuff and pretend you never got the conclusion, or it's what you read in the books. That's the joy of Star Wars. But I think that's
Or
kind of
create
I
a
hope the
podcast
message.
designed to completely destroy it. Star Wars theory.
Yeah, what a douche. I'll say that right now. But anyway, what I want to say is, and I hope anybody that's listening, and by the way, hammer the comments. We're cool with it. Like, we'll respond and all that. What I do want to say about it is that the way that we're talking about it is the way that I would hope the fandom could talk about it or learn to talk about it. And I think similar to the prequels, 15 years from now, 10 years from now, when all these little kids, this is their Star Wars. It's the Maz Kanata line from the first movie. I've seen those eyes before, seen them in many people. They have our eyes for this. So you're going to watch a lot of defense of this in the future.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of stuff that fills in gaps.
why does there need to be defense? Like, just let people enjoy it for what it is.
Well, that's what happened with the
That's
prequels.
what I say, man.
Yeah, but you're going to see a lot
I
of
don't
fandom.
I don't like it,
you
but
have to
I'm not going to
defend
shit on
something.
you for enjoying it.
Well, it's more so
Exactly.
when I say defense, I mean there's going to be a lot of fandom around it and passion
Yeah,
for it. The way
I
there is the
apologize. I
prequels.
bastardized your statement there, but
No, it's okay. I was just trying to
like,
say something positive, and you know what? We've been bashing the movies, so lay it on me, brother. Ant is now going to personally review all my photos. No, I'm just kidding.
No, and I'll just say, I know we're wrapping this little segment up so we can squeeze some other stuff into this, but I think like none of this felt like a debate to me. I just felt like we were having a conversation.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. That's what it should feel like.
There's only like a couple different things that I like will staunchly disagree on because it's just what we have opinions, and that is what it is. But for the most part, I'm like, hey, that's a cool perspective. And I'm cool, and I'm happy that you could see it that way. Not how I see it though. But hey, whatever.
I only had one, and I'm sorry, Eric, when I went fundamentally disagree. Just like the Luke thing, I always clap off on. But I love you, and I do respect that you didn't like it. Just so you
I
know.
love you and respect you.
I just hate that. I'm just kidding.
Say
I
something,
love
Eric.
you and I respect you, but
Okay.
fuck your
Eric's
opinion.
looking for no, it's not fuck your opinion. I mean, I feel like it's ultimately it's not. It's the way that it's not an opinion. It's the way the movie felt to you and what you wanted out of the
exactly.
movie.
It's
and
how
that's
it impacted
kind of what
you.
it is. Yeah, exactly. And I think
it's how your little serotonin.
we're all best friends still. You know what I mean?
If
No doubt.
Yeah.
If it's
But
for
anyway,
life.
I think this was a good example, at least. That wasn't the intention for when we have people like
No, it
on
really
Star
wasn't.
Wars. Yeah, the Star Wars Wholesome posting group on Facebook is phenomenal. The sequel fans group is phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
It's a
it
good
really
place
is.
to talk to people that are open to discussing, but not super and that's kind of the way I think people should really think about Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
For
moving
sure.
on, boys, we got some more fun stuff coming up because we just had some awesome reveals drop from Hasbro
Yes, we
Pulse
did.
today. So for those of you who don't track it, Hasbro Pulse just had their reveals today, and we are going to get into showing you each of them. If I could figure out which one to
Are you
show.
trying to share screen right now? This feels like I'm on a work call. Eric's going to be like, hey, can you hear me? You're on mute.
I don't ever do this. They're like, can you Teams me? And I'm like, no, I prefer not to. I can call you.
Oh, on Teams while Eric's queuing this up, if you're green, your game, I will call bomb anybody I want to talk to.
I don't have it open. I close it completely.
I live on it. It's like
I have
you
a phone.
work in an office. You can go and call people and say, I don't have that.
I'm at a mobile office. I'm at a different office every fucking day.
You have a scooter and with just like a desk on it. You drive around.
I should,
You have
but no,
you should
they're all.
trick it out so it looks like a speeder bike and just be like kind of rolling down the hallway.
I could. Did I tell you guys my car did not start this morning because it's so
geez.
fucking cold?
It's snowing in Florida. You got
It's,
Yeah,
So
it's
you're
I just
really
got
cold,
7
but
inches of
he's-
snow in Florida.
yeah,
so.
Eric's living global warming right now. So,
I really
you
am.
are. You are. It's interesting turn of events.
But
isn't
I'm
it?
going to pull up this right here, guys, to show you guys we got all the reveals. So we had this one first drop, which was the Shin Hati TVC, which looks awesome, by the way. I've always
Yeah.
loved the TVC because of the card backs on them, honestly, compared to the Black Series ones. And it looks great. I'm glad we're getting her in a, what do you call it, line finally. The TVC. Sorry, my brain's not working today.
I was gonna say. I'm like, that's not what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, moving on to the next. So we had, did you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next, we got the unofficially called the Mandalorian, the Mandalorian Super Commando from Ahsoka. So this one is a little bit different than the one that was released from the Clone Wars line. Obviously, the backing is a little bit different. But
And it's got an updated gun too, right?
Yes, I was going to say the blaster is a little bit updated and looks a little bit more accurate, honestly. So it looks more detailed too, actually.
Rifle looks similar to the Shriekhawk one.
Very much
I don't
so,
know
which
that
is fitting.
Shriekhawk rifle. It's cool. I mean, it's sort of showing that like the Mandalorians don't use the blaster from the cartoon, the blaster rifle. So this kind of like brings that whole, right?
Yeah.
Like this kind of like redrives home that point that this is those characters in the real world. I'm not a TVC collector, but I love it.
So, Eric, are both of these two ones that you would plan on getting?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think every TVC is one I'll plan on getting. Honestly, I love the way that these look displayed in box. So you guys know I've been starting to do action figure picks, but I will not use TVC for those. They're just too hard to pose.
Let me say, TVC collectors had a good day today.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did, because we got more coming. Actually.
What's next?
Yeah.
More TVC.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got
Okay.
That's
501st.
Audashir. That's
Yep,
what he played
that's-
in the show. I was like, I
Audashir.
wanted Audashir.
Ardashir actually posted this up. So for those who don't know
Yeah, it's what-
Shir, our friend Ardashir Radpour, he's actually a stuntman and actor who has worked on Star Wars several times, most recently on Skeleton Crew, which we hope to get him on to talk about that at some point. But he's also notably like that one of these main clones in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which, dude, these guys live action just looked so good in that series. Let me tell you. But
yeah,
so
they
that's
did. And that's
a good
awesome
one.
that he's on. I really hope to have him on so I can chat with him. I have not had the opportunity.
I need to
He
get
said
him to
he's
sign
just
this.
doing- yeah. I mean, that honestly maybe a TVC figure I buy just to send it to him to sign because he's my homie and I'll get it
Yeah.
framed. But this figure makes me, I'm so excited for Artist Share. It's my thing. Artist Share. But so I think that the thing that I like about this figure too is it's a new body mold and it's very troop buildable. And I felt like they did that in Black Series, but the blue was a little different. And I already had so many 501sts, either from like Chinese knockoffs and or just, when it was an archive series figure, but it's the old body and I don't love it. So I'm just jealous that people can get a bunch of 501st troopers in a vintage collection to troop build it. This is one of the ones I was like, that's really cool. I mean, I love that people got figures we already have. I just took a photo with the Mandalorian Super Commandos.
The next one that's coming for TVC is one that
it's a big hit.
Voila. It's our boy Balin.
I'm so stoked. From one of my really good buddies just dying for Shin and Balin. And my question is, did they show him next to Shin anywhere? Because I'd love to see if
you
this
want to know
figure
if
has
they
the height
corrected the
difference.
height.
Yeah, they corrected the height.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
I'm
my
curious.
first thought.
I mean, I think it's probably going to be just like the Black Series where it's probably not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is going to be a good one to have. I think any of these ones, especially that has Ray Stevenson on it,
hell yeah,
is going to be a big collectible item, especially with
also
his
new
passing.
Balin figure. Yeah, new Balin figure.
Too.
Great actor replacing him in the next season. Like, I'm stoked. But this is and is the lightsaber orange? I didn't look too much at the TVC stuff because I don't collect them.
I think it's a little bit harder to tell in TVC, but I think it's orange. So
I got the orange saber Shin, but not the orange saber Balin. But I
think both of mine are orange.
I can edit blades and photos anyway. But
yeah. So moving into a little bit more TVC, we got the 4 droid army builder pack. So it's kind of cool.
This
you got the one
too.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
got the captain paint on that one, and then you got the other 3, which cool little ones. I don't particularly get these army builder ones for TVC, but for those of you who do like army build ones, this is a nice pack, honestly.
Yeah, and I was reading in some of the
Yeah.
comments that it looked like it sounds like they had redone this battle droid, so the legs are different, I guess.
Well, yeah,
I
think about our
really
battle
hope-
droids, they go up and down. It's like the swivel, kind of like the new IG-11 or IG-12, whatever they call them now. His new figure that was the Grogu chassis is the legs have swivel and stuff. It just stands much better than the old battle droid figure, similar to that.
Yeah, dude, those ones, I'm not gonna even try to argue with you, man. Those ones are
Nice.
a nightmare to argue.
I
was trying to pose the
TVC battle droid
C-3PO
one, and it's a pain in the ass to
Oh
pose.
my god, they're so bad. I used the C-3PO one in an interesting shot recently, and I ended up having him like go on his knees, so that way I didn't have to try to make him stand. I'm like, this is not gonna work.
You just put him on a piece of paper and then just added him later. Like you took the picture with someone you can cut the background on.
No, I made it work. I made it work.
But yeah, interesting to see these in person, see how they pose. Moving on, we got our first
Now,
Black
this one I'm
Series.
excited about.
This, I feel like this one and the next Black Series we're going to talk about were probably the biggest hits from today. So it's our first Phase 1 Rex, I think we're getting in Black Series.
Yep.
Oh, and a new body sculpt, but 2 trigger fingers. Like, I'm so stoked for this. I was a little meh because I felt like I wanted more Black Series reveals, and also these had been pipelined.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something where I was like a little bit like, with both the 2 reveals. But that said, over the course of the day, I was like, you got to suck it up, bro. That Rex looks great, and I love that the commas at least have space to move his legs. They don't like envelop the whole leg.
Yeah.
I don't like that they were soft goods, but that figure is going to get a lot of play in my photographs. I will tell you that much.
Yeah,
this
I'm
one's going to
excited
be
for
good
that one
for sure, and it's going to go pretty great with this
one. I'm
guy.
even more excited about.
I think a lot of us were. The clone armor, Anakin, looking so
Since
good.
I collected, anytime I see this figure for sale, like on one of the Facebook pages or anything, I'm like, should I just get it? And I'm so glad I waited.
Yeah.
in the spirit of me going like this on something, like with the sequels, that's how I feel about this figure. The head is awesome. The soft goods are so much better than the original figure because of that figure you can't even move his legs. I'm just really excited. I'm going to buy this figure. It'll be great for photos. I'm wildly frustrated that they did not upgrade the body mold. No butterfly joints. This is the same mold as that crappy Revenge of the Sith Anakin body mold. I'm like, just like go do. You're going to make a new Revenge of the Sith Anakin. It's the anniversary. Use that body mold too. it's not like you could say we reuse parts because there's retooled stuff with the cloth on it.
Yeah.
One man's opinion, still going to buy it and take a lot of photos of it, but
Hell yeah.
That will definitely get a lot of use from a lot of people, I think. So
No, and that head sculpt is just
so good.
fucking. It looks
then-
just
It's a
like
beautiful
what he
looking
looked
figure.
like in the show.
and then
I have the other Anakin, and I'm going to buy this. So yeah,
and then the wrap up portion of it is this one. So now this one, me and the guys have been talking about earlier today. So now on the Clone Captain Rex mural side of the box, we see this tiny little cloth drape right here, and this is from the Ahsoka line. So the kind of thought among the community right now is we should be getting one of the Night Mothers coming into the Black series, hopefully in our next round of TVC. So how do you guys
Mothers,
feel
eh?
about that? Or sorry,
I
not
gotta-
TVC, Black series.
I'd be all for it.
Here's my thing. I looked at it a couple of times. I buy it was from Yak Face. I buy what he's saying because I can see that, but I can also see that being Rex's "Comma in the Wind," the Kansas song "Comma in the Wind."
You can buy
I
it being
don't
what?
think it's that.
Yeah.
I-
My
'cause it's-
name is
because it's gonna-
Rex.
It's got a completely different. I don't think
You're
it's.
probably right. I'm just tempering my own expectations.
But does
But
does Ahsoka have any fabric on her outfit?
You think they're
I
going to do an
don't-
Ahsoka and a cloak as like a Walmart exclusive that they're going to make me buy?
Oh my, yeah, they do it like they do with the
I
Obi-Wan
can
series.
see
There's
that
like
happening, yeah.
15 different types of Ahsoka.
No. I'm saying young Ahsoka.
Oh, she didn't have a cloak in the show.
No, but
no,
does
she didn't
like
have a cloak,
her
and I don't think that would
under
be like
her
skirt.
garment on her
Yeah.
legs have like any sort of longer fabric
So
on
she
it?
wears
I
the
understand
skirt
young-
in the in her young Ahsoka one, but it's not like that. I don't think.
I understand that young Ahsoka like makes sense to make from the show, but it would just need to be a new head. You have a perfect new body mold Ahsoka in that exact same outfit that came out 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
even if they make that young Ahsoka, unless they like completely retool it, which is unnecessary, to me that's just for people that didn't get the Clone Wars Ahsoka a year and a half.
Yeah. So, anyways,
You never? Oh
great
yeah, we talked
reviews.
about that.
So I just picked up Ahsoka and I thought that was Clone Wars Ahsoka. It is Clone Wars
Did
Ahsoka.
you get the double? Did you get the 2 blue blade Ahsoka or
Yeah.
the one with the? Oh, okay. No, they make the one. I mean, it's up here.
They have both of them. They got
oh,
the
no, it's not
young
up here anymore.
Ahsoka, and then they
Yeah,
got
yeah,
that
yeah.
one that's like
Ahsoka too. Yeah.
the teen Ahsoka, I guess.
So
they
what do they
call it.
call that?
I think that's called Padawan Ahsoka. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can
the
take
young
Oh,
one's
okay.
called Padawan Ahsoka.
So
I
Clone
just
Wars
dropped the
Ahsoka's a
lightsaber,
good character.
but it's this Ahsoka.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
and that's the
essentially
one-
essentially that outfit. This is not my collector's corner, but to me, this is that figure. It's a new body mold, the whole deal. Like,
The
right,
only thing
they
that
could
was
use
different would be the face.
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe they could butterfly joint the shoulders, but like that's the figure. So like, if you were
Yeah.
gonna make this again, like you can get it right now for
That it-
$25, and it definitely does
Really?
the trick. Yeah.
Yeah.
My one complaint about this figure is both lightsabers are green and technically your short saber is yellow, but you know, whatever. Or like greenish yellow, but it's a great figure. I dropped the small
Cool,
lightsaber.
cool.
Thankfully it landed on my
On
shelf.
Amazon, it's $25.
I think it's going not for a lot because they just did a re-release of it, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so that's okay. Gotcha.
All right. Well,
Nice.
good releases
I'm
all
pumped for
around
that
today,
Anakin.
though. I was super stoked about those ones. Just like I get to talk about this new release coming from my homies over at SaberMax, which is going to be this guy right here. It is so it's a re-release of their first saber, the Darth Vader one. This one is called the Revelation. Now, this one is exceptionally cool too because it's got different features than most of the lightsabers that they have used in the past. So one of the big things coming out, let me actually pull it up because I actually got it right here on my phone as well. So this one's called Darth Vader Revelation. It has a brand new chassis core, which is removable,
Nice.
which I will tag or put some videos in here as well. So it's like the Rented Saber from last week. So you can actually remove the chassis inside, which is something really cool because like a lot of these ones that you typically get from saber retailers are a little bit more difficult to like take that stuff out and do things with. So we will see and everything like that. So, and guys, so I am just pulling up Yak Face's thing right now, and I'll have to throw this picture in there. that is not a Night Sister's cloak. So in the mural line, that is Anakin right next to Rex.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send this to you guys and tag it up
on my
in.
phone. There we go. But we'll put it in the thing. Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
we'll save this up and put it in our podcast as well. But yeah, it looks like our rumor mill might have fallen a little short on that one.
Look at that space on those murals between Shin and Rex. You never would have guessed Rex based on that mural, but that's still really cool looking. I mean, I love there's been a lot. We could do this on the cast. Great YouTuber that I follow, Lucanus Monster, did a whole aggregation of all the leaks of the molds from China.
Yeah.
So like lots of good stuff's in there that it's coming out this year that hasn't been announced. But I didn't see the Night Sister or the Night Mother or whatever they're going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really surprised that. But
to answer your question,
speculation.
I would be down with the Night Mother figure.
Me too.
Oh yeah,
100%.
me too. I think it'd be really sick. I think they need to do a Morgan Elsbeth with her freaking Night Mother paint and the sword. That's for sure.
Yeah.
There is a shockingly, I want a Mother Talzin. Like there's shockingly too little of the Night Sisters in the Black Series as well as the Geonosians. But yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, boys, that wraps that up. So we get into our favorite part, Collector's Corner. So we are going to show off one of our stuff. Now, I'm going to take the reins quick because I have one that I opened. You guys know that I don't do that too often. And I just use this, and I actually love using this one in pictures, and it is this guy.
Oh, I have two of that guy. I love him.
Yeah. So
I don't take enough photos of him.
So honestly, dude, I took this out and I've been messing around with it. I did one picture with it so far, and it's super, super easy to pose. And I love that it came with 3 different weapon accessories, the 2 axes, and then the giant pike right here.
There's so many options.
Yeah, it poses easy. The accessories are awesome, and the big joint in the middle there that moves it makes it super easy to pose compared to some of the other ones I've been messing with. And then I love the what do you call it? The fur kilt on it or whatever you want to call it there.
Let's call it a kilt.
Yeah, so I'm going to be using this in a lot more pictures, honestly. This has been a fun one to kind of mess with. And yeah, I am looking forward to doing some more photos with this. Really fun one, actually. So
it's awesome.
You guys got me addicted. Figure. You guys got me addicted to doing the action figure photos now. It's
I just don't know why it took so long. I mean, I've been putting that in your drink for so many months.
I mean, let's put it this way: it took and it hit all at once. So because I've been popping
the Kool-Aid.
I drank the Kool-Aid like a mother.
Buying Dios next week.
I've already been looking.
Ooh, I could do my new Dio as Collector's Corner.
That is a possibility.
Is that the one that we got?
No, I just got another one.
What?
Jesus!
Oh, right. You ordered another one. I remember that.
Yeah, I did. It's I forget what it's called. Something like Base Station. Okay. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Sets, yeah.
I'll pull it out for one of these casts. But
go for it. Yeah.
I do feel, obligated. Out of sheer love.
I was going to say, I know you got one this week.
To use this bad boy right here for my Collector's Corner. So this guy's a special one because he was a birthday gift from my homies right there on either side of me here. So this figure is one that I actually really love this figure. I think in the show,
cool.
The Super Commandos themselves in Mandalorian were just awesome. And part of why they were awesome is because they put up a fight. They're not your average stormtrooper that just is pew-pewing at you and shooting at a wall. These guys were the real deal. They kicked ass.
And you get the most badass death scene of Paz against them too, which is instantly.
No, I mean that was brutal.
Throws an overheated Gatling at them.
One of my favorite things about this figure is the blaster. So,
I love their blaster. It's similar to the Andor blaster that they were using on Aldani. Yeah.
Yeah, so some of our newer blasters, not all of them, but you do have a little bit of that extra detail in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're starting to get a lot better with that, I've noticed.
Yeah, 100%.
Additionally, this one has the jetpack that has these.
Yeah.
To go into
much
it.
Better attachment.
Some of our other well, I think there's only two other ones: the artillery trooper and Mike, the Scar trooper. That they kind of have to press into their back, and it just does not work.
No.
Dude, I can't get Mike's backpack in at this point. I'm
So-
crazy glue it. It makes me not able to take pictures of the photo. It's so annoying.
it's
Why
really
couldn't they just
annoying.
glue it in like Creels?
It's like that's
I don't
one
know.
of his
Yeah.
distinguishing features.
Yeah.
That backpack. That's what.
You know what
kinda
I
sets
just
him
thought of
apart.
too is I wonder if we're gonna get more of the armored commando troopers with like the riot shields and shit coming out in the future.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if they do that just to make more money in like 2-packs, I'll take their weapons
haven't-
like that.
I haven't even pulled
Only
it out
two
yet.
of each.
The blaster,
But he's
pistol.
also got this
which
badass
is
little
such
pistol.
a cool blaster pistol. If you look right and hold it closer, like use your palm. So it is a mix of the Imperial blaster pistol that so many Imperials use, and the Westar Mandalorian blaster. If you look really closely, and I thought that was such a nice touch when they did that, because it's like they're Imperial, but they're copying Mandalorian tech also. Like,
yeah.
and again, the paint is so good. It's such a good figure.
That is. So I've
Me-
already
me,
taken a
me
couple
and Matt
pictures.
probably went
that I-
back and forth for like 30 minutes on which one to get you.
Oh yeah, it was
That's
a
hilarious.
slugfest. In the spirit of debate this week, but
Well, hey,
you own so
am
many
just happy
figures,
that
it's
you
harder
guys
and
thought of
harder.
Me, and
Yeah.
I appreciate the sentiment. You know, you only turn 35 once, so
That's
Ain't
true.
that the truth?
I am really
Or
thankful
if
to
you're
have
some
you
people I know,
guys.
you turn 21 every year.
Yeah,
God's
well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I dropped the stash.
yeah, you look great.
Spoiler alert, guys. I will say, I didn't cough and it fell off. I did. I shaved it. I shaved it off
What a Wookiee.
for all of our viewers out there. So no, but yeah, no, this is a great figure. I love it. Thank you guys. And next week I might show one of those dios, because these
Do it, dude.
$20 extreme set dios, and if it's something that you can get that you don't have to break the bank for, and there's a lot of play to have with these things. So I think
Yeah.
I'll pull one out next week.
Yeah, shameless plug. Ari, Ant, and I got the same one over the holidays, and we did a collab this week where it looks totally different in all three photos. You can do so much with props and lighting on all the extreme sets. If you look at any of my photos this week, it's all the different extreme sets I got over the holidays. And like they're great.
I think I shared with you 10 photos, but I think there's actually more along the lines of 15 that I've taken with
Yeah.
that. And I love it.
Yeah.
So
You get addicted to 'em.
next week I get Eric hooked on dios.
Yeah,
Dude, I've already been looking into them.
he's already hooked on phonics, so here we are. But all right, it's my turn. So
read good.
Simple Eric. So I in the spirit of what keeps happening, where parts of my toys drop and get eaten by my carpet, the piece that came with this figure, which you've seen on other figures, fell. But I got Basil yesterday.
Oh shit, yeah.
Basil.
Basil.
I love this guy.
Basil. He's so cool. The figure looks really nice. I'm holding it up.
It
Basil
looks
from
really
Acolyte.
nicely detailed and
Yeah.
painted.
Basil. Look, the coggles come down. The only thing it comes with is Pip. But it's just a beautiful figure. The detailing's great. I got another figure for scale. If you can see, he's smaller.
It
than
is nicely
Cassian,
scaled.
but it's
Oh, yeah.
the right height. Yeah, and spoiler alert. Today is the 22nd, so on the 23rd of January, I'll be posting a photo of Basil on my page, Black Series Daily Desk, that I took last night on a whim.
That's
that I was really
tomorrow.
proud of. Yeah, I'm posting it tomorrow, so people can go look at it. But
Go guys, go.
it's a great figure, and it photographs for those toy photographers who listen to us so well. I mean, I showed you that photo, Ant, last night.
Yeah,
I didn't edit that. That's just how it came out.
that's so
Like
cool.
it
Oh,
is,
dang.
it is such a photogenic figure. So
Yeah.
definitely, definitely look for this bad boy.
And it's cool just to have another option for Acolyte photos too, for another figure to use.
Oh yeah,
Just because it's a little limited because we don't have a whole lot in that line, and nor in that time of the.
But
of the
hopefully
ghost.
it's
want the
Stranger
stranger.
soon.
Sure.
I know, I know.
Of a plastic cape that looks strangerish.
Yeah.
That Yak face revealed. So here's hoping.
Stranger
And
Things.
Also for this figure, Stranger Figs. But also for this figure, what I do like too is like if you're doing a scene in a photo, like the more alien species I can get, it's like easier because like right now I've got a couple that are either like custom or I've modded up a little bit that like I use in photos. But like for those of us that take them, like having more options to have things in the background and characters that are not known characters. Like, I use an Acolyte Jedi for any random Jedi, but I just show them from the back, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's like, it would be like, it's
Yeah.
so fun. Like, it becomes like, that's the one thing I like about it too.
Yeah, it's really, and that's why, Eric, like, why I love it so much is because it's just like, as an adult, like, we go to work every day and we have families, and there's a lot of things that are going on in our lives that we forget that having some sort of outlet of, especially a creative one is such a positive thing that you can do for yourself. And
that's what I'm starting to really love about it too, actually. Like, this
like,
has
and
been
guess what? You're going to be getting outside. A lot of times, like, I know I see a lot of your pictures have been outdoor photos. You're getting outside. You're going places you probably
the
normally
last few
wouldn't.
days I've been freezing my ass off. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much.
Oh,
So
Ant's
I
got a
just-
great, he got killed the other day making a great photo in like 3-degree weather. He was
Yeah,
sending me
so
footage of the wind.
I had the day off on Monday for Martin Luther King Day, and I was like, oh, I'm home. I need to take a picture of my TIE fighter. So
Yeah.
I took this TIE fighter outside, and I had this brilliant idea to balance it, because it's a ball, essentially,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
balance it on a vase. And then I needed some more height, so I just had my HelloFresh delivered. So I flipped that box upside down. So now I have, in the snow, it's a blizzard, I have my box, my vase, my very heavy TIE fighter, and I'm trying to take a shot of a speeder bike flying straight towards it. Also, Ahsoka leaping through the air, and it's also very windy. And I'm just like, why am I getting frustrated? as the ship just keeps falling in the live
If
video.
you were in, it would break.
Yeah,
That was me
I
trying to
wasn't.
set up my
I-
Balin and
I would've
Morgan
been
Elsbeth
more-
on the shore the other day when we were at like 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Well, I don't think I had 30-mile-an-hour winds, but it was gusty. All right.
Yeah.
And in the live photo, I think I sent Matt, or somehow I sent it to him, where you just see the whole thing just topple over. And that was the photo that I got and made the shot out of. It's a beautiful edit. I'll say that.
I think when I'm setting something up and something knocks over and then I have to reset everything up, or like the base I'm using, like the board is like a little warped, or like the cardboard, and then it like figures start falling over, like you adjust one figure. I curse so much, and I'll just be like, "Cut me a break," and start like losing it. It's like the way I yell at the Jets in football. It's like you get so frustrated. I'm not good at standing figures up, Ant.
Well, I will
we
say
know.
this
We
this
know.
Ahsoka here. This one is not an easy one to pose.
Oh no, it's not.
I mean,
Do you
none
agree?
of the Rebels Ahsoka isn't either, but this
Do you
one
ever in a
seems
squat?
Yeah, you gotta have that. Sorry, we're done with the collector's corner.
Yeah.
But no, that is a tough to pose figure. I know I give you shit for it, but there are certainly figures that are tougher.
Listen, I give everybody shit for enough stuff. That's fine.
That's okay. We all love each other at the end of the day. What do you say, Eric?
For sure.
Ain't that the damn truth?
With that said,
That wraps us up for the week, boys. So, for everybody listening and watching us right now, we appreciate you sticking around for one of our longer shows. We had a really good debate on this today. So we would encourage you guys to go check us out on Instagram, at @SithHappens_Star Wars Podcast, where you'll be able to find the link tree to all of our links on there, which is going to be our YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. You can follow us on all those platforms. We just busted 100 followers on our YouTube, so we're super stoked
Thank
about
you
that.
guys.
So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us, following us, and talking Star Wars with us. Now, kind of gonna go turn it over to my boys here to sign us off.
All right. Well, hey, I thought this was a freaking awesome cast here with you guys talking about the sequels, and I'll reiterate one more time. I just appreciate having some buddies that I could talk Star Wars with and just have a good mutual conversation.
Yeah.
So thanks for chatting sequels, and I'm excited for another great show next week. I will see y'all here.
yeah, I'll just say I agree. And I love talking Star Wars, and I love hearing different points of view. And from a different point of view, can you just dub Obi-Wan every time I say that, Eric? It's not, I'm sure it'll only
That's a
take you
little-
an extra
that's a little
2
much.
hours.
I just started
Yeah.
thinking about dub, like the music, and
Can you dubstep, Eric? No, but anyway, so with that said, I will just say, hoping that this, inspires more conversation around the sequels with everybody and keeping it positive. There's people that like stuff and they don't. With that said, this was a fun week. May the Force be with you always.
Yep, I had a good time this week, boys. It is a pleasure, as always, to come hang out with my two bestest of friends. For everybody watching, once again, we thank you guys for hanging out. I'm Eric the Dadalorian. This is the way.